So I got myself two right-hand Waters Code 83 number 8 turnouts, and the project is I want to place them on the layout in this section here. Let me temporarily place these here. So I just want to be able to, and obviously because of the distance on the right hand side, move one locomotive at a time over to another track. I haven't got much space, but at least at this end of the table then I can move somebody over to another track. It gets kind of congested here. Really? It gets kind of congested? Yeah. So I know my track is 2-inch on center. And the grid on here actually comes in handy, 2-inch on center. So I know, give me a sec, that the overlap of these two turnouts in order to make it 2-inch on center is going to be something like this. So that's quite the cut up I'm going to have to do. The nice thing is, if I remember correctly from doing this before, is the ties do line up at 2-inch on center. So I'm going to take you through a process of how I merge these two turnouts together so that the distance between them is 2-inch on center. Okay, so if you can follow me along here, I'll try to explain it a bit much here. I am going to cut the rail right here in the middle, and then again on the underside switch, cut the rail there, and basically slide one into the other, which means I will have to cut the ties right down the middle, and they should merge up together pretty easily. And I'll do this in little steps, and hopefully you'll see what I'm talking about. So there's the first cut, like I said, right in here. So I'm going to pull this rail out completely, and I did the same thing on the other side. Cut the rail there, and I'm going to pull it out completely, and it will merge when I put them together. Slide in the rail like that. So that's the idea. And yeah, let's move on. So I pulled the stock rails out, and now you can probably see better what my intentions are. So we'll line this up again with the grid on the desktop. And oops. This should line up like only thing is, might have to do a little bit more cutting. You can see it's, where is it here? I want the ties to line up. So I might have to just take a little bit off the end of that rail. But the idea is to line up the ties and then cut the ties right down the middle, so they will merge together quite nicely. Might have to do a little bit closer. Anyways, we'll get it to go. Maybe something like that. Just keep playing with it a little bit. You know, go slow. Yeah, something like that. So that's the idea. So I definitely have to cut a little bit more off of this here. Better to cut than be too short. So I don't want to remove any ties unnecessarily. So first step, I chop down the first, I put a cut there for the first 6 ties. So I'm going to remove those. And again, on the other side, the first 6, remove them and have another look at which ties I can remove and where to cut. So I removed the ties now, and now you're going to see a little easier as to what my plans are. So, hard to do this with one hand. Maybe I can use just a sec. Okay, I'll put my phone down here for a sec. Okay, here we are. So you can see now how I want this to join up. And as you remove the ties in the middle, you can shorten the distance between the 2 turnouts, and you can tell here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 ties to go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 7 ties, obviously the same, 7 ties to go. So in the middle, I have to remove 3.5 ties. Anyways, so you end up starting to cut down the middle. I'm going to do 3 on each side and see where we're going to go. So the idea again, I'll take these apart. There, line it up like that. So you're going to have to do some work in here so that you can retain your fish plates, etc. But just take your time, you can do it well. But that's what happens when you have a 2-inch on center track work and nobody makes a crossover number 8. So okay, like I said, so I marked it with a marker. We counted 7 ties. I took out 6 to see how this would match up. So you might have to do a little cosmetic work with the ties in the middle, you know, to make sure they look presentable. You know, you don't want broken ties in the metal. But this is how she goes. So I'm just gonna, again, check this. Check. Put this on the squares. Line them up. Make sure I'm still good for 2-inch on center. But basically we're heading in the right direction here. So you can see how things are progressing now. Okay, back in a bit. Okay, here we're back at the workbench. I had a little break here, but I just fit this together. And you can see I need to take some little bit off the end of the rail so that it'll slide up just a little bit more and the ties will line up. Not much, but just enough. And the nice thing too I noticed or wanted to tell you is that Wathers, their turnouts are a straight piece past the frog, which really makes this easy to join up to another one. When you get some of them that are a curved piece off there, of course joining it up is difficult. But this is how I get a number 8 crossover in code 83. I'm not a person that does custom laying out track, so anyways, works out pretty good. Yeah, just works out really good. Wiring it up is pretty simple. You just got to realize this cut, you know, pretty well right across from this area, so you shouldn't have any problems with getting track power correctly with this particular one. This is the latest version of Wathers. They have a quite the snap. So eventually I'll get turnouts with the tortoise smales, and I'll have to remove that little hard snap. But for now, everything's looking good. And I'm just gonna, like I said, nip off a bit of the rail and slide them up a little bit more. So here we are. I think this is where I want to be. I snipped off, sorry, the rail here, so it's a little tighter. The ties line up. And you'll just have to do a little cosmetic fill-in. But the next thing I want to tell you guys is on the fish plates. So I'm going to peel off, where's my finger? Where are we? Here we are. The bottom side of the fish plates. I'm going to keep the top side fish plates, but I'm going to just scrape off those bottom fish plates. So when you set the rail in, I'm going to glue it into place that the gauge here stays consistent. So yeah, should be pretty good. So here I am taking the one side of the fish plate off. You just run your X-Acto knife. You know, I can't do this with one hand, but I just hold down the track and pop the one side of the fish plate off. So here we are, and I think I got it to the point I need to pull it in tight, glue the ties together, the ones that are touching, give it some strength, plus glue underneath the rail right there. So, and of course on the other side too, underneath the rail to the tie. And then we'll flip it over and see what the electrical connections need to be adjusted. Okay, so I glued the rails down, and as you can see, pretty good. The ties need a little bit of TLC. So here's the area that I want to put the crossover in, and somewhere like that. So just enough room, one locomotive on the end, so I can move them over without having to pick a locomotive up off the table. So I'd rather just be prototypical operations and move them over than, yeah, I'm liking it, looking good. So I marked the track where I'm gonna cut it. There and there. And this side actually isn't tacked down, so I'm just gonna lift it up and adjust it after I cut these two ends. Now my tables are, well, this is a modular layout actually. They clip together. So the bus or the power goes around the bottom and it comes up through each table. So I am gonna bring the power up at the end of this table. I don't think I get the power coming up at that end of the table. So other than that, I think this project is pretty well done. Not bad at all. I'm liking it. Any questions? Just give me a shout. Making a little mess at the end of the table, but anyways, you can see I got some feeder wires coming up, and I'm just working on the last one right now.